Hey guys, Billy Presnell here at Dream Guitars with another lesson installment for you. This is Altered Tunings Part 2. So if you haven't watched that one, press that little pause button on the left side of the square thingy you're looking into and go back and watch the first one. That will make way more sense. I mean, I guess you could watch this without that, but it'll make way more sense if you start there first. And don't forget to like and subscribe. How about that? Yeah. So last time I talked about utilizing the strings being tuned to DAD on strings 6 through 3, or I'm sorry, 4. So I have some sense of standard mapping of what I'm playing. So I know where my bass lines are, so I have some sense of familiarity when I'm exploring a tuning. So my guitar right now, or this guitar right now, is tuned D, A, D, F, C, D. So much like last time, we have this voicing. It can be used as a chord, and it could also be used as an arpeggio. That right there is a really awesome arpeggio, melodic line. I could play that forever. And I encourage you, whenever you're exploring altered tunings on your own, spend a lot of time with them open and just establish a perpetual groove with that triad, your treble strings, so that you get this sense of how they overlap with each other. So if I go or see, those are all three very different feels and directions for the music to go. Or you can pinch and pivot between strings 3 and 1 and 2. You can see my right hand here. I'm using my middle finger and my thumb to pinch strings 1 and 3. And my index is pinching string 2. And do these arpeggios for as long as you can stand it. Try to make it a meditative thing where you're just kind of getting a feel for. I can already hear a melody from that, but try to not play the melody at first and just get used to the feel of that. So we know that our tuning is F, C, and D. So the open bass string is in harmony with that arpeggio. And you could hear, when I played the second note of that bass line, there was some tension there. If I just went, that sounds kind of bad. That doesn't sound in tune. But I didn't stop moving through the music. When I landed on this F, it made the whole phrase make sense. I didn't let this mistake, or quote-unquote mistake, stop me from moving to the right note, whatever that means. So we have this tuning. You can see all the notes that I'm fretting are bass notes. With my left hand, open 3 5, open 3 5. I know that pattern works because I'm very confident in how these strings are tuned. So I know I can go, no matter what these are tuned, I know that's going to have a certain modality, a certain feel. So if I have this going, I can establish a groove that way. see, that groove is independent of the actual alter tuning. What I'm allowing that tuning to do is to color the voicing of what I'm playing. And I'm using all the harmonics at my disposal. Your best friend in altered tunings are harmonics. At 5, 7, and 12. And if you can pull them out of the fourth, that's cool too. So I would play that. And most of the work is being done by the strings being played open. Right there. Just. I'm only fretting 4 different notes at that point. I'm using a lot of techniques. I'm using a slap technique. I'm definitely hammering on with my left hand. But I'm still letting the tuning do the work. So we have DADFCD. Now I'm going to change the tuning a little bit. And this is much like how I referenced in the first episode. I gradually alter these tunings. And I guess that's why I use that term instead of alternate tunings, is because I literally go through and alter them as I go. I'm going to raise this string, the first string, D, up to an E. And that's why the tuner's on here, so I can know that I'm doing it right. I'm not being negligent in my videography. I am being mindful for your well-being. And while we're on the subject of raising the pitch, tuning your guitar down is safe until it becomes too floppy to hear a sound. You know, you obviously don't want that. You want there to be enough tension to make a good sound. But raising the pitch, you want to be very careful. And I don't recommend going more than a step up in pitch, really. A step and maybe a half is really, really pushing it. But be very careful, be mindful when you're doing it. Be very easy and gentle. Don't do it fast. And don't put too much tension on your guitar. You know, it's not good for it. It's not good for you. But I would generally not go above a step. And I definitely would not tune the whole guitar a whole step up. Don't do that. That's just too much. We're changing individual strings. And usually when I raise one string, another string is lowered tremendously. So that you're not exactly balancing the pressure or tension on the guitar, but you are making up for, let's say, the B string's a C. The G string's an F. So there's not that much of a difference in the tension than previously when it was tuned standard. So now that I have this tuned to DADFCE, I had to cheat and look at my tuner because I forgot what I'm doing. It's a different voice, right? F, C, and E. Now you can look at that a bunch of different ways. That could be a suspended chord. It could be a stack chord. I would say it's a suspended chord. Right? I'm going to do the same thing I did previously and listen to how different it is. Right? So I pretty much played the same thing, the same groove, the same 4 notes with my left hand, and let the open strings do the work for me. So what you saw me do is I went from one alter tuning that sounded really interesting and fun, and I altered it by 1 step and did the same thing, and it's a different song now. I mean, it's obviously the same groove, but it's a different song. Now, this is where we move past using these as just open drone strings for arpeggios, and we add melodies to it. So to explore that first string. It's your best friend for melody. I always encourage people to go chromatically to learn what's happening, so you hear tension, just get it out of the way. Now I'm just doing that with the bass string, so that all sounds pretty sterile. But if I go... begin to recognize and react to the spots that sound sweet and the spots that sound kind of sour. So that sounds good. That doesn't sound very good. That sounds great. I like that one a lot. I don't like that one. So I have a roadmap now. And I'm allowing myself to make mistakes while I'm exploring this, but I know that letting the tuning inspire and inform my playing, to gaining a memory of what sound was where, and then I actively controlled the melody. So you learn a lot about melody because you're kind of flying blind in a sense, where the geometry you've learned in standard DADGAD is out the window, and you're desperately trying to find a melody. And you find when you latch onto it and you make the most of it. And it can be very simple. I mean, that's, you know, when you play it without all the other elements of music, it sounds kind of mundane and silly. But and then you can let those open arpeggios write the rest of the song for you. So whenever we're doing altered tunings, just be gentle, explore lightly. Let these tunings inspire you. Utilize them as an open thing, as a drone, and really focus on your bass lines and your chords from those bass lines. Because everything that you're playing on the guitar is chordal. Whenever you're playing a lot of stuff, the harmonies are there. And then the most important part of the whole thing is the melody. The main idea. It's that simple. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching, and hope you come back for more useful information for your mind and guitar. My name is Billy Presnell, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you.